One night we were alerted, we had a tip from the other side that a boat was going to make the attempt. Nobody came, no boat landed. Well, the next morning we found out why. It had sank. So instead of seeing this boat as we should have and bringing those people to safety, we got treated the spectacle of watching them picking the bodies up out of the water the next morning. There were 25 people on that boat. They found 2 survivors and 16 bodies. The rest just washed out to sea. And here's the thing that struck me. A friend and I recovered one of their backpacks. And when we went through that backpack, this is the only belongings to some human being we don't even know who. We know it was a girl, we know it was a woman. We don't know where she was from, we know nothing of her story. In the bottom of that backpack, in the very bottom, were 8 or 10 little infant nappies. She wouldn't have been carrying infant nappies if she didn't have an infant in her arms when she entered the boat that night. We don't know if her body was recovered. We know she wasn't one of the survivors, that we're sure of. And no infant body was recovered either. So she, more than likely, at least her child and she are gone, lost to the sea in the darkness because we didn't do our job. And if you could see that backpack, if you could handle those, she had one beautiful thing in it. It was a little about $5 plastic clip with fake jewels. That's the only thing she had of value enough to put in that backpack. When you reduce your life to what goes into a backpack, you're desperate. And she was desperate enough to get in that boat, and it cost her life, and it cost her the life of the infant she was carrying. And if you can see that, if you can handle those baby nappies, and not feel something in your heart, you're not even human. That's the point. These are not just a group of people. This was a human being, a young girl and a young infant, and they were lost because we don't care. They had to take on that raft because they're not allowed to ride the ferry. And they had to try to sneak into Greece because they're not allowed into our countries, and that's just wrong. It's wrong on every conceivable level. And that's just an illustration of what we face here every day. If you haven't watched them picking bodies up out of the sea, you don't know what you're talking about. That's it.
I saw the boats started coming to Greece, and I instinctively thought that I have to do something.
I was watching the news and I felt really helpless.
When I saw this opportunity, I wanted to come over as soon as I could, really.
Early in the morning, I heard the screaming and the crying children, so I went out on my balcony. My house is very near to the beach. I found the children wet and mothers desperate. I just wanted to help them, and I just told them, let's go in my home. Give them clothes, food, whatever I had actually. And this is how it started.
Everything else depends on how well organized we are on the warehouse. This is the heart of CERST. This is where it all happens. This is where donors' generosity meets refugees' needs.
The quality is very important for the items that we give. We will never give a broken, a dirty, nothing. Things like underwear, socks, they have to be new.
We are on call, so they call us in the middle of the night. We just come to the warehouse, grab the things we need. We have the van already stocked, and we go to wherever the landing is. When I first came here, I was really afraid of landings.
I had seen images and videos of landings in Chios, but it wasn't until I attended my first landing did I really understand.
When they arrive, we go to the landings, we provide food and dry clothes because they're quite often wet and very cold.
What we try to do is to welcome people, at least for 5 minutes, to let them know that we welcome them, that they are not forgotten.
The first night she gave me this bag of lollipops and she was like, here, pass these out to the kids. And I was like, okay, I can do more than hand out lollipops. Like, I didn't really understand until the boat arrived.
They are in shock, having some hypothermia. They cry, children cry a lot. The smell of the landings, it's a very particular one. It's salty and it's sweaty and it's nasty. And you just block all of that and you go and give your welcome to these people.
I sort of had prepared myself to like stay calm and try to do the things I was told to do.
And the need was so huge that you felt like such a small person, like there was only so much you could do. I think like people need to realize that if everyone just did like a little bit, just helped one person, like you can change their whole life.
So we mostly cook spaghetti, lentils, chickpeas, vegetables, rice. I tell you, the kitchen from the first day till now has cooked more than 1 million portions.
Now the current camp, that is Vial camp, located in Chalkios, and 90% of the supplies that are going inside the last 1.5 years are coming from this team. For example, 1 month ago there was no diapers because we didn't have to give them. So we did an emergency call to collect diapers. Very fast we collect them and we send the pallets so people had diapers, the children. So whatever you see here, it can disappear in one day because we are an emergency team.
We bring food to apartments around city. Yeah. This is something I do every day. If you are with your children and with your husband and you have 4 babies, it's really difficult to survive in Vial.
The language centre is here primarily to give skills to the students. So English, obviously being the global language, is really useful for them. Greek because they are in Greece.
We have a rule here actually that we don't call anyone by the label of refugee or asylum seeker. They are students. They are people with names and nationalities and they are students here.
We also have some art craft classes and a garden that the students use. They plant, look after and harvest the vegetables that they grow here. We also have lawyers come and use this space to speak to the students to help them prepare their cases for their interviews. Throughout the asylum process, we are here to provide a safe and quiet space for them to come to away from the camp where the conditions are very difficult for them.
Too many students have said to me that if they didn't come to this centre, they would have nothing to live for. This for me is just as first response as anything else on the island.
I want my friends and people back home to understand that these people are people. They're like you and me.
They grew up in nice neighborhoods and sent their kids to nice schools.
They love their families, they care about the same things you care about. Most of them were middle class where they're coming from. They had houses and jobs and cars and families. They lost all that.
Humans are suffering. They are no different to you and I.
We're not better or different. We were just lucky that we were not in the same country when the war started, and we can be in their position in one day.
What encourages me more than anything is these young volunteers that I work with every time. I'm old, I'll be 70 years old soon. Their dedication, their drive, their sense of purpose, their compassion, their hearts give me hope for the future.
Here we don't have administration costs and everything goes to the people. And we are direct human aid. You don't need to wait to do 20 meetings so you will take one decision. We have something, the problem, we will solve it today, now.
Refugees fighting and not losing their own sense of humanity, of family, of community. The volunteers from all over the world, leaving their families, leaving their works, leaving everything to come here. I want to be a part of this. I want to stick with these people. That's what keeps me going.
I think this experience and what they've been through would break many people, but they just keep going. They don't give up hope. They do all they can to make a future for themselves, and they're still kind and generous and compassionate. That purpose and that joy for life is quite infectious.
Some people they say, but we give them dignity. No, I don't accept that. The people have their own dignity They need the supplies. We're going to give the right supplies to the people that have their own dignity. They don't wait from us to give them dignity. We just help them. We don't advertise the pain. We advertise the smiles. We advertise the results of our actions.
If I'm honest with you, I've been very surprised by the atmosphere of this centre. Like, how can it be that there is so much laughter in this environment and happiness? I'm extremely thankful and grateful that that is here, and I hear that laughter every day because it's such an important factor of life.